Well, here's what I told Coach B on Sunday. There are three things that we ask out of our kids to give us an opportunity to play great defense. The first of those things is to play smart. To not only to play smart, but to prepare and practice in a smart way. We believe we accomplished that when you just talk about big picture overall numbers. And we had 7 busts for the game, about half as many as we had in the TCU game. We ask our kids to play hard, and I think you've heard me say we refer to that as playing fast and straining to finish. And it was our lowest number of the 3 games. We have a formula we use to figure out if we're playing at an SEC championship level, and we were outstanding as far as playing hard. And the third thing we do is ask our kids to tackle great. We missed 2 tackles in this football game. Gave up 500 yards and missed 2 tackles. So if I'm looking at those 3 things, did we play smart? We did. Did we play as hard as we possibly could? Absolutely. Did we tackle great? We did. You go back to number 1, okay, where we only had 7 busts on the game, and 4 of those 7 busts accounted for 222 yards and 24 points. And against any opponent, let alone an SEC football game, you don't give yourselves a chance to win or for success when that's the case. And that's a piece of it that we're all not happy with and ready to go back to work on the field tomorrow to correct those errors.
Paul, I assume you're talking about the 6 plays that were 18 yards or longer, and then the pass interference call, those the 7?
Yeah, I don't want to even bring that one up. I'll try to be mum and mute on that. But the pass interference, no, that's not factored in. That there was no bust on that. There was a great play by our defensive back in coverage on that play. We have the first touchdown on a scramble. We refer to that as plastering. When a quarterback scrambles, we plaster our man and we stay on him. And we failed to do that. We also let the quarterback get out of the pocket on that play. We had a quarterback long run that got called out of bounds, and we held him to a field goal. Was very pleased that took place, that we did hold him to that field goal after the long run. But we had a physical error on that play. We had the late touchdown that was, I don't know what it was, 40-some or 50-some that went right up our gut. Right on the edge of our defense that we didn't execute what we needed to execute. We didn't get a gap taken care of, and then we had the other play down 18-23, whatever it was, touchdown run that we'd made a mistake in a call that needed to be checked at the line of scrimmage based on formation. Those are the plays I'm talking about.
You in Mexico State, they scored 31 points at Arizona State, 549 yards, 500 in Mexico. What's your take on their offense?
I think they're a very good offensive football team. They've done it consistently this season. I think they're around 463 or 470 total offense as a team on the year. That's a lot of yards. They're scoring a lot of points per game. And I think you should turn the film on. You understand exactly why they're doing that. They have a quarterback who's a veteran player who can really spin it. I mean, any ball that they ask him to throw, he can make it. He can throw from the far hash to the far boundary and put it there on time. So they got a quarterback that starts them and allows them to do what they do. They've got a really dynamic running back in number 3. He's second on the team in receptions with 20. You lose him at times, and he's got exceptional foot speed, both quickness and overall speed, and he's a very productive player. 6'6", 216-pound receiver that leads him in receptions with 26 is a big target. Hard to defend a guy that is that big, but they spread the ball out amongst all the other receivers as well. So it's not like you're going to build your coverage around one guy and one running back. You got to defend the whole group of them, and they know what it is they're doing. They play very hard. They're precise in their routes. They're spacing and their executing of the game that they ask them to execute. They know what it is New Mexico State does, and they do it very well.
Do they run a lot of spread, or is it hurry up and stuff?
Both. Both. They're a no-huddle team that operates out of 4 wide receivers about 70% of the time, and then close to the remaining 30 is 3 wide receivers and 1 back and a tight end. There's some snaps of 2 back and 2 tight end, but not very many. They're going to throw it a bunch out of the 4 wide receiver set, and they're going to mix run and pass in the 3 wide receiver set. But they're going to do it out of a no huddle, and they're going to do it at a good speed. They got 90+ plays in their first 2 football games.
All the kickoff cover team, defensive players for the most part.
Right.
And Brett was saying that maybe by the end of the game, there were 3 or 4 guys that maybe were coming off that team. Is that something you're involved with?
No.
Substitution of taking starters off?
No, not an overall substitution pattern. You know, we've always believe in the philosophy that special teams are terribly important, and if a guy needs a break, then maybe you need to rep off in offensive or defensive snaps. But we got to keep our people on the field for our special team snaps. I think each individual lead coach of those special teams, and I think you're aware John Scott coaches the kickoff team, but that comes down to Coach Scott and Coach B on making those final decisions, and I think through 3 games we've been extremely smart about rotating guys, and this year, especially compared to last year, we have more bodies available to us on our team's units, with guys coming off redshirt years and new guys being added to the program. And you know, the overall coverage by that kickoff unit was outstanding Saturday, which makes that last one, you know, such a shame.
What do you make of the pass rush so far?
Well, it hasn't been at a level of pressure, and there's 2 things you're trying to accomplish with pass rush, right? You're trying to just get pressure where the quarterback feels disrupted, whether you move him or not, where he feels it and it affects his reads and his throwing motion and his throwing accuracy, and then the biggest desire is to get the sack and get him down on the ground. And I'll tie this into New Mexico State. There are not very many offenses around that give you the opportunity to sack quarterbacks very often because the ball comes out so quickly. And they have the availability of checkdowns and so forth to get rid of it. As I say that, New Mexico State's as good as anybody. The quarterback's back there at about 6 yards. He's dropping another 3 yards after he gets the ball. His offensive line is excellent in pass protection. And New Mexico, Arizona State, you see these teams bringing all kinds of numbers to try to get to him, and they don't get any pressure on the quarterback. So we've been operating out of a little bit more 3-man pass rush on some passing downs than we'd like to for this reason or that, and because of that, that's hurt our ability to get a little bit of pass pressure, and something we're addressing.
So does that mean you bring your corners up a little bit more, and then also, how did Curl do? They really attacked him in that game.
Went after him more so than TCU had done in his first start, which was surprising to us that they didn't. But Texas A&M certainly did. I don't know if you saw their pattern of the first play of the possession, how many times they took shots and went after us, not just Kamren, but went after us. Other than the 50-yard pass that he gave up, that he was in position to compete, to finish, I thought he really played a stellar, gave a stellar effort of a cornerback, freshman cornerback in that game. But yeah, he was targeted and they went after him, and that won't be the end of it. And the same will be true with Chevin when he gets in there, and Brito as a younger player as well. And those 4 corners all stand to stay in the rotation. Honore, because of lack of early snaps in this game, conditioning was never a problem, so he was able to play the whole game.
The read option, I know I assume that's a big part of your preparation for what's been for several games.
Yeah.
How'd you do with that? And I think maybe you're referring to some checks, and that's what got you in trouble.
Yeah, we overall, and it's hard for people to hear that and believe that when the final outcome is, as many points as it was and 500 yards of total offense. But when it comes to that phase that you're asking about, it was one play. It was one play that should have been a 2-yard loss, and they would have been 2nd and 12 from their 8. But we didn't execute properly, and it was a 79-yard run because of that. And that was the one piece of the zone read quarterback potential carry package that we really didn't handle properly.
Greg was saying Kevin had the ankle and he said it was okay, but maybe not top form, so he didn't play a lot. You think he'll be back for this week?
Oh yeah, I anticipate him being back in the starting lineup as our nickel back, and Dre and Josh being able to operate at a safety rotation, and if we need Josh to give Kevin a break, we'll be able to do that as well. So, overall health-wise, we've been pretty good back there. It's the importance on the practice field is where I've felt it the most. Where a year ago we didn't have any bodies to practice with. Now we're able to go base and we're able to go cash, which we refer to as our nickel package as combination, and not wear guys out on the practice field, and that allowed them to be fresh on Saturday. But in that nickel spot, he was going to spend a good deal of time on Christian Kirk, and just where he wasn't at a level that he could have done that as efficiently as we needed him to, and deep down Kevin knew that. He's such a competitor. It really hurt him not being on the field with his teammates, but his sideline leadership was just exceptional.
He didn't play snap, did he?
Yes, he did. When after the long quarterback run, Josh actually came out. Josh got hit in the ribs, got the wind knocked out of him or something on that play, and Kevin, I think he even finished those 3 plays. Yeah, right there in the red zone from the 10.
A young guy like Curl gets a tough flight like that. Do you talk to him and sort of say, hey man, that was a tough break, or how do you handle something like that for the young guy?
I think young guy or not, if your guys are doing what they're supposed to do and doing it well, you just let them know that that's exactly what they're doing, and encourage them to keep doing it.
And I guess Scuda, he was tied to Dre with 14 tackles. How do you think he's doing his first time as a starter?
I really thought he had a progressive 2 weeks of preparation for this game. And what I mean by that is I think he improved himself fundamentally as a football player in the last 2 weeks. I think he took his early knowledge of the game plan and really started to apply it. And by the time he got to the 14th day, he arrived and played his best game in the 3 games that he's played so far for us this year. And that's exciting and encouraging for our defense.
Said he's calling the signals and doing pretty good with that.
Yeah, he's when you're facing no huddle offenses, everybody has to get the call, but he's responsible for getting a set, and when he makes the call, everybody responds to him. He's the general, as I like to say, on the field.
You started off with the 3 keys and only having 7 plus. Have you ever had quite a game with that minimal of mistakes, so to speak, and that kind of an outcome?
No, and that's why we were angry, to be quite honest with you, on Sunday when we got the chance to see it and see all those numbers. Those numbers are great. A week ago or 2 weeks ago, I talked about good, not great. Those particular numbers are great. 2 missed tackles against that football team, and playing as hard as we possibly did, and having a low number of mental mistakes. Those are great numbers, and to give up as many points as we did in total yardage is certainly not a reflection of that. But when they came at critical times, and they took advantage of a vast majority of them in a big way. And that's SEC football.
To transition to the 3-4, I mean, it takes time.
Mm-hmm.
They progressing in that?
Yeah, we're every week we sort of tweak and not necessarily add, probably tweak more than add, but there are additions coming as the season goes along. I think if you would ask our kids, they're they're quite confident in what it is that we're doing and what we're asking out of them. And that's one of the reasons why they play so hard, because of that. I love them dearly for it, and how hard they're playing and the effort they're giving and how physical they're playing. And you're going to see the improvement continue to be made as the transition takes place.
How's the blitz package and what you've been able to do with what you want to do blitz-wise? How's that progression been?
Well, blitz packages are there's different definitions there, right? There's are you bringing 6, are you bringing 5? Even 4 can be pressure. And those are affected by a team's ability to run the quarterback and formation you a little bit. So we haven't been in a position, because of the offenses we've faced and the tempos that we've faced, to get too extensive yet. We don't want to put our football team in a bad position. We don't want to hurt our own football team, and because of that, that's remained a little bit limited. But it's there. It's a part of it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.